Reflecting on that summer, a bittersweet sensation envelops me, weaving together memories of yearning and the haunting echoes of possibilities unfulfilled. My name is Evan, and the summer I shared with Serena was a journey of self-discovery and profound contemplation. It was a storm of emotions, yearning, and decisions that have left a lasting mark on our spirits. That summer, I had the opportunity to deepen my understanding of Serena, a cherished family member. Embark on this adventure with me by subscribing to my channel, where I can weave more enchanting stories that touch the heart and spirit. Be sure to watch this video in its entirety and give it a thumbs up, for the story that unfolds is sure to enthrall you profoundly. Your encouragement is invaluable to me, so I kindly ask you to consider showing your support with a like. At 41, Serena exuded a mesmerizing beauty that gently unfolded, disclosing intricate layers of depth and complexity. Her soft, chestnut hair cascaded around her face in gentle waves, while her hazel eyes possessed a captivating allure, as though they could uncover the concealed depths of your soul that you weren't ready to expose. In a charming little abode on the fringes of the city, she lived, having bid farewell to her husband, Victor, several years prior, as my parents suggested that I spend the summer with her following the completion of my graduate program. A tide of uncertainty surged within me. My acquaintance with her was minimal, and the idea of intruding upon her serene moments stirred a sense of reluctance within me. Still, they encouraged me, certain that it would bring me advantages I had yet to grasp. With a weighty heart, I collected my possessions and ventured toward her tranquil haven. Serena greeted me with her warm embrace, surrounding me with a fragrance that hung in the air like a poignant recollection of lavender and vanilla. Her home was exactly as I remembered it, radiating warmth and invitation, overflowing with tales, artistic instruments, and an ambiance that urged you to stay just a bit more. She led me to the guest room, poured us some tea, and we spent that initial evening enveloped in conversation, reflecting on the past. Initially, the atmosphere seemed commonplace and devoid of distinction. Serena dedicated her days to her work, while I meandered through the intricate maze of my own reflections. I meandered along the local trails, immersed myself in the books she had left strewn around, and sought to banish the persistent uncertainty that clung to me after finishing my program. As I remained in her company, I became entranced by the nuances I had previously missed. The gentle melody of her hum as she cooked, the radiant joy of her laughter that brightened our surroundings, and the effortless grace that seemed to surround her every gesture. On a fateful evening, the world transformed. The night enveloped me in its stifling grip, and sleep danced just out of reach. I ventured into the refreshing caress of the evening air, yearning for comfort beneath the vast expanse of stars. As I wandered past Serena's bedroom window, I noticed the curtain slightly ajar, the soft illumination from her bedside lamp spilling a warm glow onto the lawn. I paused, my eyes drawn to the spectacle that was unfolding in front of me. Serena reclined on her bed, her mind adrift as she navigated her phone, each flick of her finger igniting a swirl of feelings inside her. She wore a robe and sipped her tea, the material playfully cascading from one shoulder, her demeanor serene as if lost in reflection. Serena exuded a subtle grace, and I felt an intense curiosity about her manner of existence. She possessed a mesmerizing quality, a fleeting insight into her spirit that remained just out of reach. I realized I ought to have retraced my steps, yet I was entranced. Despite my awareness of the boundaries I was transgressing, I found myself irresistibly captivated. As I inhaled deeply, it dawned on me that I needed to navigate my emotions with a more constructive approach. As I cast another look, she continued to be blissfully unaware of my presence. The next day, her visage remained etched in my thoughts, a specter that tormented me with its fervor. It wasn't just her beauty, it was the intensity and intimacy of that moment that remained etched in my heart. That evening, as she sat absorbed in her book in the living room, I found myself gazing at her with an intense yearning. "Is everything okay?" she asked, her eyes rising from the pages that had ensnared her. "Indeed," I responded with a quickness that belied the chaos swirling inside me. Attempting to conceal my fatigue behind a transient smile, she nodded, her gaze locking onto mine for a brief instant, a wordless recognition of an unarticulated connection, before she returned to the pages that appeared to draw her in. That evening, I found myself pondering the feelings I sought to comprehend more deeply. I tapped softly, my heart pounding with unexpressed feelings. She gestured for him to enter. As I stepped into the room, I endeavored to project an aura of casual indifference. She propped herself up in bed, the delicate fabric of her robe cascading gently around her, an air of yearning lingering in the atmosphere. "Are sleepless nights burdening your soul?" she asked, a trace of longing dancing in her smile. I cast my eyes downward and settled on the edge of her bed. A tempest of feelings surrounding me. "I wanted to connect and check in on how you're managing." Her smile radiated a bittersweet warmth. "That's kind, but I'm all right," she responded, her fingers lightly grazing against mine. The touch lingered, and the air around us shimmered with a palpable, unspoken energy. Slowly, she inched closer, her eyes searching the very essence of my being. In that instant, I became acutely aware of the profound emotions that had eluded my comprehension until now. We shared a moment of deep understanding, a silence that conveyed more than words ever could. It was a fleeting spark, a moment suspended in the air, yet all too ephemeral. As our lips parted, the burden of existence descended upon us. Serena paused, her hand softly cradling my cheek, her gaze a tapestry of wonder and longing. "Evan," she whispered gently, "what have we turned into?" The bond we forged was undeniable, an energy that neither of us could evade, leaving me with an abundance of questions and few answers. I hesitated, my voice barely above a whisper, but it appeared so flawless. She shook her head, a smile tinged with both joy and sorrow playing at the corners of her mouth. "You are a cherished part of our family, and the strength of our connection holds great significance for me. However, we must approach it with transparency and mutual respect. The depth of our connection is profound, yet it pushes the limits of traditional comprehension. In the midst of my emotional journey, I find myself pondering the decisions that have brought us to this point, ensnared in the tension between righteousness and the yearnings of my heart. The path to self-discovery and the richness of our connection is truly exquisite." I gently replied, "You are not just my aunt, you embody a profound importance in my life. A truth you grasp completely." For a fleeting instant, silence wrapped around us, heavy with the burden of unspoken words. Her hazel eyes glimmered with a silent sadness, betraying the inner conflict she faced, torn between the course she thought she ought to take and the yearnings that tugged at her soul. Her breath caught, an unspoken struggle unfolding inside her as she sought the perfect words to establish a barrier, to make sense of the chaos roiling in her heart. "You're Serena," I murmured, inching closer to her. "Your being surpasses any designation or role. Your essence is undeniably extraordinary." Her lips quivered, and for a brief moment, she closed her eyes, trying to block out my voice, my very presence. Yet something shifted within her. Her gaze locked onto mine, a fierce intensity that surged within me like an exhilarating secret. "This isn't right," she murmured. "Is it genuinely wrong?" I asked gently. "Or is it simply a notion implanted in us by others?" Serena turned her eyes away, encircling her arms around herself as though to protect her heart from the pain that lingered inside. "You simply don't understand," she remarked. "I have dedicated my life to meeting the expectations of others, and now I stand at a crossroads, filled with doubt and introspection." Her voice quivered, and she lowered her eyes, enveloped in a sense of solitude, invisible, and adrift in the dim recesses of her own soul. "You are not invisible to me," I proclaimed, my voice steady, even as my heart raced wildly within my chest. "Your essence stands alone, deserving of recognition and appreciation for the remarkable individual you are." She cast a fleeting look over her shoulder, her eyes searching mine, as though she sought to unveil the silent truths that hovered in the air between us. "But how?" she whispered, her heart laden with unexpressed emotions. "How could this possibly be anything other than a blunder?" As I embraced the truth, I leaned in closer, our breaths intertwining in the air. By boldly embracing genuine emotions, the chasm that had long divided us dissolved in an instant as she breathed out, her sigh quivering with unvoiced feelings. With a tender gesture, I carefully tucked a stray lock of hair behind her ear. She hesitated, ensnared by the fleeting instant. Instead, she closed her eyes, yielding to the gentle touch, as though it were the first hint of affection she had felt in a long time. Her lips parted ever so slightly. And in that fleeting moment, I felt an irresistible pull, leaning in to press my lips softly against her forehead. What appeared to be a simple act was, in truth, laden with profound meaning. Her body trembled beneath my touch. And as I pulled away, her eyes locked onto mine, filled with unexpressed emotions. "Serena," she began, her voice trembling with unexpressed feelings. "Speak softly to me to pause. And I will comply." She paused, weighing her words carefully before replying. In that instant, she softly averted her eyes, a quiet denial resonating in the atmosphere. "The mere idea of you turning your back fills me with an unbearable weight." In that instant, I understood the depth of my appreciation for our bond and the insights it imparted to me. It began with a gentle hesitation, as if we were both navigating the fragile boundaries of possibility. Yet, when our lips finally met, the uncertainty dissipated, replaced by an overwhelming intensity that enveloped us entirely. Her hands sought refuge on my shoulders, gripping firmly as though I were her anchor. And I wrapped her in my arms, pulling her closer. As we parted ways, her cheeks radiated warmth and her breath came in irregular bursts. "This changes everything," she murmured, her voice laden with emotion. "Perhaps," I admitted, but perhaps that was simply the way it was destined to unfold. Her eyes locked onto mine, searching for the solace of assurance. "I'm unsure how to find my way through this," she murmured. "Embracing these emotions within me proves to be a challenging endeavor. You don't need to know everything right now," I murmured softly, my fingers weaving together with hers. "Together, we shall traverse this path, hand in hand." As the days passed, our connection deepened in ways I had never imagined. Yet alongside it arose a disquieting sensation that lingered in the background. The burden of our situation loomed over us, casting shadows on the fragile bond we had created. Victor, Serena's husband and my uncle, frequently became absorbed in his work, creating a noticeable chasm between us. The awareness of her marriage hung in the air, a heavy presence that pressed down on our hearts, impossible for either of us to overlook. One evening, as we lingered on the couch, the atmosphere thickened with the burden of unspoken words. At long last, Serena released her grip on it. "Evan, I cannot persist along this route," she uttered, her voice heavy with profound regret. "The facade of joy has become unbearable, as my heart is burdened with the weight of reality." I grasped her hand gently, cradling it as though I feared the moment of release. "In that case, I kindly ask you not to. You deserve a life that transcends the role of a mere footnote in your own narrative." Her gaze brimmed with emotion. "But what if I find myself ensnared in this intricate maze, uncertain of the path to freedom? You do not have to navigate this journey alone," I declared with certainty. "I shall remain steadfast by your side, navigating every twist and turn that comes our way." The next day, a silent weight hung in the air, as though the universe was teetering on the edge of something significant. My eyes wandered to Serena House, drawn by an irresistible force that enveloped my mind, rendering the world around me a mere haze. The reverberations of our shared moments lingered in the recesses of my mind. Her hands shook, and her voice quivered as she softly confessed her desire for me to continue. With the clock ticking towards the afternoon, a surge of anticipation filled me, compelling me to take action before the moment faded into memory. I wandered along the familiar trail leading to her abode, each footfall laden with yearning and uncertainty. Serena sat upon a weathered bench in the garden, cradled by the expansive limbs of a venerable oak tree. Her phone lay quietly beside her, a testament to unvoiced sentiments and unresolved emotions. She stared into the distance, her thoughts wandering through a vast expanse of reflection. Serena, a name that resonates deeply, conjuring memories of possibilities unfulfilled. A voyage of self-discovery woven through the intricate tapestry of yearning and aspiration. I murmured softly as I approached. She flinched, her gaze piercing through to mine with a fervor that left me momentarily breathless. "Evan," she whispered, her voice tinged with a mixture of wonder and a silent yearning. Perhaps even a feeling of liberation. "What brings you to this location?" I inquired about your well-being, my tone steady, even as a storm raged inside me. "In the wake of yesterday's events, I found myself drawn to reach out and see how you are faring." Her laughter quivered, a delicate note resonating with the burden of unexpressed emotions. I'm uncertain about what that truly means for me at this moment. Let me take you on this journey. I extended the invitation, settling into the chair beside her. This journey is one you do not have to face alone. She hesitated, her fingers intertwined anxiously in her lap. I find myself at a loss for words. She confessed, all seems so intricately woven together, as though each decision I take bears the burden of another's soul. Maybe it's not about avoiding the pain, I whispered gently. It may be a matter of selecting what genuinely strikes a chord within us and summoning the bravery to chase it. Regardless of the challenges that lie ahead. Serena looked at me, her hazel eyes filled with uncertainty and longing. What if the treasures we hold dear appear eternally unattainable? She asked, her voice a gentle whisper filled with unexpressed feelings. In that instant, I realized we had the power to challenge fate as I softly took her hand. Sensing the gravity of our decisions, every moment reveals itself with a tender grace. Her grip tightened around my hand, and for a brief instant, it felt as though she might release me, casting me into a tempest of doubt. She exhaled deeply, a slight tremor coursing through her, and leaned into me, her head settling gently on my shoulder. Have you ever felt that your life has been molded by the wishes and anticipations of those around you? Her voice carried a softness, as though she could perceive the pieces of your essence fading into the ether. In certain moments, I find myself revealing my doubts. Yet your presence appears to illuminate the truths that lie within me. She inclined her head to gaze at me, a blend of yearning and hesitation flickering in her eyes. Your expressions convey a sense of ease and grace. It might not appear so, I responded, but the journey possesses its own significance. For what seemed like an endless stretch of time, we remained in silence, the weight of her unspoken feelings surrounding us both. At last, her words slipped free, delicate and tender, akin to a whisper born on the breeze. For years, I donned a facade of happiness, mingling at social events, embodying the ideal host, laughing at jokes that failed to resonate, all the while a profound emptiness lingered within, unrecognized and painful. There is no necessity for masks between us, I declared with unwavering certainty. Fully accept your authentic self, casting aside any doubts or regrets. Her eyes glistened with unfallen tears as she softly raised her hand to caress my face. Her touch tender and tentative. What drives you to behave like this, Evan? She asked, her voice trembling with unexpressed feelings. What drives your passion for this? For you are deserving of gentleness, I proclaimed, to be recognized, to be treasured for your authentic essence. Serena's hand rested gently on my cheek, her thumb gliding over my skin with a softness that was both enchanting and tinged with melancholy. With a flutter of apprehension, she drew nearer, her lips brushing against mine in a kiss that was tender yet brimming with an unmistakable fervor. In that instant, all else dissolved into the background, leaving only us, woven together in a bond that was both exhilarating and intimidating. As we parted with a hint of reluctance, a delicate blush graced her cheeks, and her breath emerged in gentle, wavering sighs. This is insane, she whispered, a ripple of laughter escaping her lips. What is it that we are truly seeking? Something that echoes profoundly within, I proclaimed, my voice steady despite the rapid thrum of unvoiced truths. Something that carries weight. Her eyes locked onto mine, as though she were attempting to decipher the enigma of this unexplainable meeting. Evan, she began, her voice laden with unexpressed emotions. I find myself grappling with doubt, questioning if I can truly welcome this, if I can permit myself to immerse in it completely. It's perfectly fine to be uncertain at this moment, I offered my reassurance. We shall stand by one another, fostering growth and learning through this shared experience. Just as she was poised to utter her words, the abrupt chime of her phone disrupted the tranquility. Serena flinched, her hand darting toward the device as though it had scorched her very essence. Her gaze darted to the screen, a surge of tension enveloping her as the name materialized. It's him, she whispered, her voice a delicate tapestry woven with threads of yearning and resignation. Are you prepared to address it? I asked with a sense of careful deliberation. She hesitated, a brief shadow of doubt flitting across her features before she ultimately decided to shake her head. No, she asserted firmly, setting the phone down delicately on the table, its screen averted from her sight. At this time, no, I nodded, a surge of yearning swelling inside me. A strength resides within you, often overlooked. I murmured softly, do not let him take that from you. Her eyes sparkled with a blend of yearning and melancholy as she extended her hand to take mine again. Thank you, Evan, she murmured, for your presence, for the very essence of your being. After those words, her hand lingered in mine, and the world around us dissolved into a serene quietude. We remained suspended in that instant, the garden surrounding us in a tranquil silence, interrupted solely by the gentle murmur of leaves dancing in the soft breeze. Her fingers wove through mine, forging a quiet connection that expressed far more than any words could ever articulate. Her heartbeat pulsed beneath my fingers, a steady cadence that quickened slightly, sparking something profound within me. Her breath, both shallow and deepening, mirrored the chaotic thoughts swirling within her mind. Serena, I whispered, the name slipping from my lips like a cherished secret I could no longer confine within the depths of my heart. I long for this to transcend the bounds of a mere momentary meeting. I yearn to be by your side, navigating every twist and turn of this journey together. Now is the moment to welcome the truth, to cease existing in the shadows. Her gaze cut through me, filled with a profound intensity that appeared to gauge the significance of my words and the silent promises they carried. I don't know how to handle this, Evan, she whispered, her fragility almost breaking my resolve. For an eternity, I have been shadowed by the dread of my own feelings, paralyzed by the potential fallout of genuinely yearning for something. Yet, in your company, I discover a freedom I never imagined could exist. I leaned in, gently tucking a stray strand of hair behind her ear, my fingertips brushing softly against her delicate skin. Release your fears, I implored. Let us traverse this path together, side by side, regardless of the challenges that lie ahead. We shall face them united. She hesitated, the weight of her past marital experiences pressing down on her. Yet slowly she yielded. Very well, she whispered, we shall traverse this moment step by step. And thus, it all came to a close. What we shared together heralded the beginning of something deep and meaningful. Rather than an ending, the kiss, the closeness, the unspoken bond that enveloped us. It signified the dawn of a deep voyage, an experience that was genuinely real. Neither of us felt the need to speak again. The stillness conveyed profound meaning. What we exchanged, what we were beginning to forge, seemed as though it held the potential to be everything. In the weeks that ensued, Serena and I became enmeshed in a bond that was as thrilling as it was fraught with danger. We glided through the moments with a soft cadence, respecting the distance we required, yet the connection we held was undeniable. We savored quiet mornings with warm cups in hand, wandered through the flourishing garden, and exchanged soft-spoken thoughts about the future that awaited us. As the days passed, the remnants of the past began to dissolve, allowing her the liberation to discover a new self, one that embraced desires long hidden, finally inviting the love that had softly hovered in the background. Nevertheless, the deepest change occurred within the essence of her being. The woman I had once encountered, shielded by layers of defenses built over the years, had disappeared. In her stead stood a spirit unbound, freed from the burdens of the past, ready to welcome the mysteries that awaited in the future. In those tranquil instances, in the pauses that lingered between our exchanges, I came to realize that my emotions for her transcended simple fondness. My heart belonged to her, an undeniable truth from which I can never break free. The journey was fraught with challenges. Nothing of true worth is ever attained without effort.